This week on Pivot with Purpose.
And I told my therapist, like, there's this picture in my closet that my wife needs to throw away that she cut up, and it bothers me every time I see it. She's like, why don't you just ask her about it? Are you in a different place now? Just ask her to throw it away. So we were laying in bed. I was like, when do you think you'd be ready to throw that picture away that you cut up in the closet? And like, she just rolled over and she was like, you cut that picture up. I was like, no, I didn't. Why would I cut that picture up and leave it in the closet? Why didn't you? I would have threw it away. She's like, she went back on her phone and like, it was like from 2018. It's been in there for years. That's how long it's been in there. And like, she scrolled back and she was having a conversation with her aunt. She was like, yeah, my first name is Damon. She was like, Damon's running around the house like whistling, and he took a picture off the wall. He just cut it up and stabbed the picture. He grabbed a knife and stabbed the picture and cut it up or whatever. And that's why the police got called. And apparently, like, so that's when, like, I don't remember none of that. I was like, what? No,
So
you did.
what
You
was
cut
it?
it up.
Was it a psychotic break? Were you in the
It was
middle of an
a
argument?
psychotic break. It was literally a psychotic break. My therapist said it was a psychotic break.
Welcome back to Pivot with Purpose. It's your girl, Carla Wilmaris. So I just realized this week while doing business that people don't know how to say my name, but it's for a good reason. It's like Wilmaris, Wilmaris. It's Wilmaris, technically, real Spanish if you want to roll your R's and shit, but really Wilmaris because we speak English. So Wilmaris. All right, moving right along. That's for everybody that's coming new. Numbers have skyrocketed since I decided to start posting on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok. If you're here from the TikTok fan, y'all are real. Literally, I just got YouTube monetization when I started taking it serious about a month ago. So I reached my numbers, and all of a sudden, things went viral on TikTok. 1.5 million, 500,000 on another one. I said, who are those girlies? I love them, and they comment, and y'all be talking to me, and then going to my YouTube, and you go to YouTube and be like, I came from TikTok, like letting me know, like, what's up? So I think I'm messing hard with the TikTok girls now. So Instagram girlies, I need more comments. I need more feedback because the TikTok girls are giving me feedback. Okay. Really quick, I do want to also give a shout out to Who Is Chan, who has left an Apple Podcast review. If you have not yet, now y'all be messaging me all the time and giving me all kinds of feedback on the podcast in my DMs, but you don't do it on Apple. And I know you listen on Apple because most of y'all listen on Apple. So, and I know you wouldn't have... I don't have friends that are Androids, so you wouldn't follow me if you're an Android user. So I know you got an Apple phone. Leave this doggone review. Who Is Chan left one? Love it. It says, I'm mommy making it happen. Real discussions and relatable. She's a cool person who... Wait, do you know how to talk? She's a cool person, and what's talked about is most moms' experience. Thank you for being authentic. Cozy Womb Pod. Oh, she's a newbie. You sent me a message. Cozy Womb Pod. Womb like the belly womb, the babies. That's a podcast. Yeah, you sent me a message. Thank you for leaving that review. See, people listen sometimes and follow directions. Well, that's it. I'm done doing what I do. We're getting into the podcast episode. We have a gentleman today coming on the podcast that he doesn't know, and I figured I will let him know now that I have legit been messaging him and kind of stalking him since about a year. But I started messaging you back in October. But you'd never know because what I was doing is I would send the message. I would wait like a couple weeks to see if you saw it. And if it didn't say seen, I copied it, unsent it, and sent it again.
What?
So if you ever got
Sorry.
So I've been sending and unsending messages for about 5 to 6 months because I'm like, I need to talk to this guy. Now, where did I find him? Last year. Technically, today is March 1st when I'm recording. Yesterday was February 28th, and it made it 1 year exactly since I left New Jersey, and I left my relationship, and I just came back home to Florida. So a week prior to that is when I was told by my therapist that the person that I was dealing with had NPD. And I went into a rabbit hole while I was in Puerto Rico, didn't sleep. I was just spending hours and hours not sleeping, looking up narcissism. So I'm, of course, on the podcast app, and I'm looking up narcissists. Like, what does this even mean? I didn't know. And everything was white people. And then this black guy pops up. And he talking about he is self-aware narcissist. And I said, what the fuck this nigga talking about? So I look for it. And I'm like, I know he's so full of shit because what I've read on Pinterest so far lets me know it's not possible. So I remember listening and driving in Puerto Rico, just bawling, crying, and listening to him. And I'm like, this is some shit. So finally, the guy that I was listening to was Lee Hammock from, on Instagram, Your Mental Healness, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So thank you so much. Now that you know all that, do you still want to do the episode with me?
Yeah, My wife is calling. I gotta go. This is strange how that works.
But listen, sometimes you gotta get somebody's attention somehow, some way, and you have to be relentless to get there. It took me a little while, but you're here.
Yeah,
Thank you for being on here.
I missed a lot of messages, but I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, yes. So let's get straight to it. Honestly, I want to know from you, like, I guess we'll know more of your story and who you are. But first of all, what the hell is even a self-aware narcissist? How did we get here? Like, did you give yourself that name?
So actually, I was just being my very first TikTok video I posted. I was just saying, hey, my name is Lee. I've been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And I don't even know where the term self-aware narcissist came from. I think I just saw it in my comment section one time, and I was just like, oh, that sounds better than... Hey, some reason it just rolled off the tongue better than diagnosed for some reason. I was just like, oh, self-aware narcissist. It's catchy, So it just quickly became the self-aware narcissist on TikTok or whatever. And pretty much what a self-aware narcissist is somebody who's aware of who they actually are. Somebody who's aware of their tendencies, their personality disorder if they've been diagnosed. And things like that. It's just like somebody, not necessarily, it doesn't mean that they're taking accountability or they're going to change their behaviors. It just means that they are aware of they're aware. Like, I'm woke. It's kind of like, I see, it's kind of like I have glasses on right now. My vision was blurry, but now I have the glasses so I see clear. It doesn't stop me from crashing. I can still crash a car while with my glasses on, but it just gets to the dynamic where self-awareness, it just helps me process life better. For me,
car analogies. You just triggered me. Is it a thing?
I'm just an analogy.
People that are listening know exactly what I'm talking about. But don't worry. No, but I get it. Okay, so you can be aware of what's wrong with you, but continue to do the bullshit.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. So, yes.
What led you to therapy? Because clearly you have to go to therapy to be diagnosed. So then we go back, like who you are, where you're from, and what led you to even get diagnosed?
So. I can start. I can do a brief rundown of what I have going on. So since I was very, very young, I would say 8 years old, because I don't have a lot of memories when I was a child. So I was 7, 8 years old. I've always kind of felt out of place. It's kind of felt like around my 7th, 8th birthday, I was kind of born. And when I say born, it's kind of like I woke up and realized who I was on that day. I remember being at a birthday party. It might have been my own, but I knew everybody around me at the time. I knew my brother, I knew my mom. I knew everybody around me. I just didn't know who I was. It's kind of weird. Kind of like you woke up and just, hey, I'm living now. I know who these people are, but I don't know what role I play in this. I didn't know who I was, deep down. So I just started kind of mirroring people, acting like people, picking up on behaviors to fit in because I didn't feel like I fit in, even through childhood and growing up or whatever. I feel like I've always kind of been an outlier, even though I did fit in. Technically, I fit in because I had a lot of friends and people who liked me because I'm funny.
Were you awkward? Were you corny?
I was shy,
were you popular?
Other than that, I was a shy guy. But other than that, yeah, I was popular. I was an athlete or whatever. I was cool. People like being around me. It wasn't a story until I told the story. I was a very good storyteller in middle school and high school. They loved me telling stories because I like to. Yeah, I gas them up. It wasn't. It was the truth. The truth was in there.
Right.
The truth was in the stories and whatnot. But I would gas them up to make them funny and hilarious. So people would like being around me for that aspect of things. But like growing up, like even just just feeling like I didn't fit in, carried on through my my teenage years, through my early 20s and into my 30s, like where every single relationship was ending the same type of way. I would just wake up one day and just be disconnected from the person for seemingly no reason. I was just like, I wake up, I'll be in love the night before. I'm like, damn, I love this person. I'll wake up and just look at them. I'm like, who the hell are you? What am I doing with you? I just like, why am I with you? Why I could be doing better? Why am I not doing better? I was so asking myself these questions and blame the other person for making me feel that way. But it wasn't their fault.
You thought it was the other person's fault that made you feel
yeah, it had to be their fault. How's it my fault? They must have did something to me to make me feel this way. I didn't, I didn't just think this way. They did something to me apparently. But I could never understand why. But it became exceedingly frustrating in my 30s when I was married and I just disconnected from my wife, and then I wasn't where I wanted to be, like life-wise anyway, financially, educational-wise, like body-wise, health-wise. Like nothing was going right in my life pretty much when I was like 30. This is 2017. And my wife, I had a 6-month-old, 5-6-month-old son at the time. And I think she had went to the gym or she had went to work or something like that. I think it was the gym. And I was just frustrated because you went to the gym because I couldn't get my work done. I was a real estate agent. I was like, I can't make calls because my son was screaming. So I started screaming at him. I was like, shut the hell up, at a 6-month-old. So she just happened to come home from the gym early or something like that, and she heard me in there. So me and her got into pretty much a huge argument where we were yelling and screaming. I was saying, fuck you, get the hell out of here, that type of stuff right there, and I can replace you easily, buy you an inconvenience anyway, you're holding me back. And then on the way out the door, she's like, it's so damn hard living with a damn narcissist. And I was like, narcissist? Who that? You're a narcissist. Because in 2017, I thought it just meant cocky, conceited people.
That's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
It just, somebody that's full of themselves.
Yeah, somebody's full of myself. It's still an insult. I'm like, you insulted me. So I'm insulting her. Like, you're the damn narcissist. And I started going into detail. Like, it takes me 5 minutes to get ready. It takes you 3 hours. Like, you so worried about how you look in public, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking shit. So she leaves, and I'm steaming hot when she left, So I'm sitting in the bed, mad as hell. I was like, why the hell did she call me a narcissist? So I just pulled out my phone, and I typed into Google, narcissist, the word narcissist. And it's like, did you mean narcissistic personality disorder? Like, well, I didn't mean that, but like, I don't even know what that is. But let's go. Let's see what this is, So I clicked on it, and it started running it down like, I was like, what the hell? And I started reading the signs and the traits and the symptoms, and it just made sense to the questions I had been asking myself for 30 years, for 20-some odd years, about why I felt different, why I felt out of place, why I didn't fit into society, why I felt the way I was like, damn, I am a narcissist, shit. Like, and I remember texting her, I was just like, hey, you right. I'm a narcissist. Like, I had no idea, but now I do. And it's like, there's no cure for it, but you know what I do? I'll go to therapy because they say therapy works, So that was like March of 2017. But of course, I didn't go to therapy.
So you never had, according to like the narcissist stuff, which one are you? It's like there's covert and all that other stuff.
I feel like I alternate between the two. It's just situational. It just depends on the situation.
Okay.
I'm covert throughout the days, but overt when I need to be. It just depends on the situation, the crowd I'm in. I'm super covert around a crowd of people I don't know, but I might be overt around people I do know. It's a comfort level type of thing, a comfort level type of dynamic. You know what I mean? But I told her.
Go to therapy, and you within you, because usually what they say is that narcissists are like, there's nothing. They're always like, there's nothing wrong with me. So you just felt like you hit your rock bottom.
So I feel like I hit rock bottom in that moment because she had left to my son. I was like, my marriage was crumbling. I wasn't where I needed to be financially, where I needed to be education wise. I literally, nothing was going the way it needed to go. So everything kind of came to a head at that point. It was multiple rock bottoms at once. It's like the perfect storm of rock bottom. It wasn't just, I think a lot of people they get into the thought process. They think rock bottom is this one singular event where it's actually a culmination of different things that happen at once. It's kind of like the perfect storm. 4 hurricanes hit at once and just caused this big typhoon in my life. So there's my version of rock bottom right there, because she left and I had nobody else to blame for where I was at. My son was gone. Who am I scream at? Myself? I'm in the house screaming at myself, So it's just like, it is me. And it's a kind of a terrible revelation that, damn, it is me. I've been the fault for a lot of this stuff because, like, damn, my mind just works differently. I've always known it works differently. I just thought I was different, because that's what they tell you. Everybody's different in their own special way, And I started reading a lot of Tony Robbins.
Love to say I'm different.
Yeah,
I'm different.
I'm just different. I just work different. My mind just works differently than yours. I'm just,
and that's okay.
I'm built.
Just figure out why it works that way.
Yeah, I'm built different. That's what I would just tell people throughout the entirety of my life. I'm just like, we're not cut from the same cloth. Like you're led by your emotions, and I'm not. Like you're too vulnerable.
An emotional person. You're an emotional woman. All this stuff. So how long did it take you to get to therapy? Did you run?
So this was February, March of 2017 when we had that big blow up, and I told I was a narcissist. So I joined some self-aware narcissist Facebook groups on Facebook. Like I just typed in narcissistic personality disorder on Facebook. I'm like, what the hell I'm supposed to do? I don't know how to get a therapist. I told I was gonna go to therapy. So I joined these Facebook groups. You type in narcissistic personality disorder on Facebook. It's a bunch of survivor groups. Like survivor. I'm like, I ain't about to join these groups. I'm not surviving this shit. I didn't know what that meant. So, so I'm just scrolling down to the point where it's just like diagnosed narcissist. Like, this is not a survivors group. I'm like, oh, this might be where I need to be. So I joined that group in March or whatever. And I remember joining that group, and a lot of people in that situation were just like, it's so many people in that group that were saying the same things that I would say. I was like, damn, this sounds like a bunch of me's in here. So cool. And I remember this March. So October, I think my marriage was kind of going back downhill. My wife brought it back up again. She's like, whatever happened to that therapy you talked about, a while ago? So I'm like, damn, it's come to a head now. So I got into the groups and I asked them how to find a therapist, and they told me about, psychologytoday.com and whatever. So I got on there, and that's why I found my therapist. Yeah.
On Psychology Today.
Yeah, on psychologytoday.com, yes.
Okay. Wow. And then from there, you never stopped. You started then, and you've been working on it now for the past 6 years?
Yeah, so in October 2017, I started going to therapy.
Once a week or once a month?
It was
Did
once
you
a
go
month. Yeah,
on and off?
it's once a month. Yeah, it was once a month for the most part. There have been some therapy expensive. I told you I was broke, so I ain't have a lot of money to keep going. So I'll miss a month here or there, But for the most part, I've been consistent for the last, since October 2017, going at least to once a month. It's increased in duration now a little bit more. Sometimes I go twice a month now. It just kind of depends on where we are. I just like if people are looking to go to therapy, let your therapist kind of guide you on how often they think you should go. Because, I don't think I could do once a week. I just felt like that's overwhelming for me. I just feel like I feel like school. I just feel like it's school again. Like I got homework to do. I got to turn it in. I got a project I got to work on. I got to turn it in next week. I just feel like a month gives
So
me
is
enough
that
time.
what therapy, like really briefly, is that what therapy is like for you? You kind of go and you speak on certain things and they give you homework or things to do?
So my therapy session always starts with her asking me what's been going on new. And I always have kind of a mindset on what I want to talk about. And it kind of guides the conversation from there. Because I do psychotherapy. It's just talk therapy. I just do talk therapy. There's no medicine, no pills, and nothing. There's no smoke or, flashing lights and nothing like that. It's literally just going there and just talk and things that bother me and getting to the core of why they bother you.
Okay, and how long would you say? Because now I'm thinking, I've been saying therapy, and in my experience, I was going to therapy, and he was going to therapy. Even the second person I have in my life, also, she was going to therapy for some time, but I feel like they were there. Um, it was like fun. It was like they was at a podcast. It was, just talking and just getting it done to get it done, but they have fun doing it.
I call that performative therapy. It's like a performance piece. You go in there and you just put on a show. Just like, action. How am I doing? How is the lighting correctly in there? It's just literally a show to say, hey, look, I'm going to therapy. I'm working on myself. You can't say anything bad about me. And then if you say the therapy is not working, then is it not working, or are you just not ready? Are you not ready to deal with a changed version of myself that's not putting up with your BS anymore? Or it's like, was that the issue? I can flip it on you easy. You know what I mean? If my therapy isn't working, I can just flip it on you. Why it's not working? Is it not working, or is it not working, or are you not understanding me anymore because I'm growing past you? Blah blah blah.
No, it's true.
That dynamic.
How do you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How do you now? And I agree with you because you can choose to flip something on anybody. But what do you do now in your marriage different? Like some of the things that you can think of, that really made a difference for you to navigate your marriage and those relationships around you now, since you are trying to do better.
I just feel like the main thing I do in my marriage now is I listen to respond as opposed to being super reactionary. I just feel like when we would have conversations previously, and I would be waiting for her to say something to set me off. I would just be on edge, and like sooner or later she'll say something. I'm already thinking of insults or comebacks in my head, just based on where I think the conversation is going to go. Now I just I still do it. It's still the insults are still piling up. I just not say them. I just or the comebacks. I just does this benefit me in any way to say this now? No, it doesn't. Does it still happen? Yeah, sometimes it does happen. It just slips out. I can't control it sometimes, but most times now I'm just listening.
So you really have like Tourette's, like
no, not Tourette's. Most
like hey, stupid bitch. Like what?
No, if I said that, it would be Tourette's. It would be just me being me. I could say it was Tourette's, but it'd be yelling at you clear and concisely.
But what you're saying is that there are times that you really can't help it.
There's times when it's over. There's times when it just feels like it's overwhelming and it just comes out. Yeah, I would say that. It just
but now you can control the times that it gets overwhelming.
Most times I control it. I'm not saying it's not a perfect science. I haven't cracked the full code yet. But right now I have to slow myself down. But sometimes I feel like I can't slow down enough, and it just still comes out. Not the horrible mean stuff, but some mean stuff does come out. It's not a super mean, but it's just like shut the hell up type shit. Just what the fuck you talking? What are you talking about? Just as opposed to listening and just trying to figure out what I'm talking about. I just don't want to deal with it.
How long have you and your wife been together?
We've been dating since December of 2011. So it's been quite a bit. It's been a while.
Like 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And she also obviously was aware before you were, but she's
Yeah.
aware that you're working on it. And when those moments happen, when you are overwhelmed and might be rude or disrespectful, what happens then?
So,
What's the consequence then?
so back in the day, I would be rude. I would just keep dogpiling it on. It was just like it was just a stream of rudeness. It would just keep flowing downhill. Like the water of rudeness would just keep flowing. Now I'll say something rude. It's kind of like I'm a little beaver now. I'll dam it up, so it stops. It stops really quickly. And I just feel like that's
And you
the big-
acknowledge it? Does she acknowledge it?
I acknowledge
Do
it
you
like,
walk
damn, I
away?
shouldn't have said that. That was way out of line. Like, I definitely shouldn't have said that type of stuff. I'm super apologetic quickly now, as opposed to that. Back in the day, I was like, no, I'm not apologizing. No, I said it and I meant it. And I was standing on it, regardless if it was right or wrong. But now it's just like I said, it's like little beaver narcissist. I just dam it up and don't say it. I'll just apologize and just keep it moving.
I'm
and
just
that type of
imagining
stuff.
like this beaver popping in, like, shut the fuck up. Sorry.
Yeah, just
I
damn.
didn't mean to.
You just damn it up. So, like I say, you stop it before the flow gets too great. Down.
So now, where do you get your wife? Obviously, at some point was your supply.
Yeah, I would
Where
say
do you
that, yeah.
get? Where do you get your supply from now? Because at the end of the day, this is still your personality. So,
Yeah.
do you think you've transferred that over to social media?
I would say it's transferred over to social media a little bit, but I've got to the point now where I understand that no matter what, it's not going to be enough. So it's just like it doesn't affect me like it used to. I used to just like just so like, damn, people really like me online. But now it's just get to the point where it's like I know that there's no amount of people liking me that will actually make me happy about it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get fulfilled from people liking me on social media and things like that. The true fulfillment comes from myself and being able to just understand that, I don't need the validation of other people to acknowledge or validate my existence, because that's what a lot of narcissists are really doing. They're trying to get other people to validate their existence in their presence. I don't need that right now. I need it, but I don't need it as much as I used to. It's just not like love me, because if I wanted that type of stuff, my page would look a lot differently. You know what I mean? Because I understand the dynamic of how people's minds work. My page would look a lot differently if that's what I was after. I post a whole bunch of shirtless, hair down, weird pictures and stuff like that to seek that type of attention. But I don't do that. I keep my page. You see, it's just like me talking, like I'm talking to you right now.
I mean, yeah, but I know plenty that don't do all that. They just talk.
Mhm.
And
I know they just talk, but like I said, it's just talking to the point where like I understand, like a lot of people, it'll never be enough. That's why they keep consistently doing this type of stuff. They put on false bravados and false images of who they are. You see me for who I am. I tell you bullshit I've done. I tell you straight up with this shit I've done. They hide from that. They don't tell you what they've actually done wrong.
Do you think, if you think back to Lee 10 years ago, did you ever think he would think like this? Did you ever want to think like this? Did you ever want to feel like this?
The crazy thing about it is, I think Lee from 10 years ago actually thought the same I do right now. I think I'm just more along in my journey. The way I thought back then, I thought I was thinking the same way right now. I don't feel like it's changed that much. I feel like 10 years ago, when I was reading a bunch of Tony Robbins books, I thought I was super enlightened and smarter than everybody else around me anyway. Now I'm just like, I'm in a position now I just talk and it just feels the same like I used to do, because I used to do a whole bunch of motivational, inspirational stuff on my own personal Facebook and my own like other smaller
Before
Instagram
you were
stuff.
before you went to therapy?
Yeah, way before.
Also, you've been doing this shit even while you was fucked
I've been
up.
talking like this for a long time. It just hasn't been as concise and directed towards the mental
So
health
was
stuff.
it BS back then in a way? Like, because I don't know how I would want to, if you're talking about Tony Robbins, well, Tony Robbins talks about really believing in yourself, but there's also an aspect of motivational speaking where you have to be aware of, having empathy for others in order to succeed and, not stepping in others' shoes. And I feel like if you're in a space where you don't even know that you have this personality disorder in a way, or maybe the spectrum of it that you might be in, where on the spectrum you have fallen, would it be BS?
So I feel like a lot of narcissists have, including myself, have a level of self-awareness where we understand that we might think differently, behave differently, but we don't know what it is actually. We don't know that it's a personality disorder. We just think, like again, they tell you that you're different when you're younger. Everybody's different. They're special in their own way. I thought I was special in my own way because I thought differently than everybody else. So me talking and trying to inspire people back in the day was me genuinely trying to help people, mainly because it was me helping people. I wanted people to just say, hey, he helped me. And I would like that. Like, they got help from me because it's from me. That's why, like, he helped me. I like that type of stuff like that back in the day. Like, you motivate me.
So you like legit helped others, but
Yeah.
then the people closest to you are the ones that you probably didn't give this as much effort to.
Yeah, I feel like I was giving them effort, but it wasn't much, like you just said. Yeah, because I mean, I've done the fitness journey type stuff. I lost 100 pounds. I've been doing a whole bunch of different stuff, like literally.
You've done it all. You've done it all.
A bunch of different stuff, trying to find my place and try to find peace and happiness and what my
What's
fulfillment
there for you. Okay. Now, since you've been, what were some of the worst things for you? Like, was it cheating? Was it physical abuse? Was it verbal abuse? Like, what do you think it was the worst for you?
I just feel like
Those closest to you.
I just feel like the in totality, I feel like the worst thing is the verbal stuff. You know what I mean?
Verbal.
Overall, in totality, I'm not a big cheater and like that. I'm just
a little cheater, not a big cheater.
A little splash, a dash of cheating in my past. A little like just a dash to sweeten the pot up a little bit.
Definitely maybe salt. Let's just say it's a little bit of salt. A little salt in the
but I feel like the main thing was like I'm super malicious with my insults. Like over the years, like I would say horrible stuff to people because I listen, and people trust me, and they trauma dump. People trauma dump all the time. They just trust me to trauma dump, and I wouldn't do it right then and there. It wasn't my intent to think that, to hurt them with that stuff later on. But like later on, if they got on my nerves, I would be super evil towards them. The worst thing they told me, I will weaponize it on them and tell them, and tell them. I still do it kind of nowadays, but not towards. I do it in, I feel like nowadays when I do it, it's justified more than anything. Back in the day, it wasn't justified. Nowadays, I feel like it's more justified when I say something mean to people when I use their past against them. Well, back in the day, I was just trying to defend myself.
Is that ever justified?
To me, sometimes it is. Yeah. See, it's like my mind just works differently. If you if somebody's arguing with me, like this is a real story. Like one of my friends recently, he's just super mad at me because I called him out on being a bad dad. And he's hyper focused on trying to be super, just saying bullshit about me. He's texting his ex-wife like, "Oh, the mom," he's talking shit about me, and she sent it to me, and I just went off on him. I was like, "Dude, why my name in your mouth?" You know what I mean? Like literally, why is my name in your mouth? He started talking junk and blah blah blah. So I started talking. I know he had daddy issues, and I was just like, your daddy told me he was proud of me the other day, and I told him he should have told you that because you're a horrible person. I was being mean. You know what I mean? But again, I feel like that was malicious. I feel like I wouldn't have said that if he wouldn't have just came at me for no reason. You know what I mean? I feel like that was warranted. Okay.
So there will always be a dash of that.
It's dashy. And the reason I do that, and I just found this out recently, is because I'm super high on a scale of paranoia, and I always feel like people are trying to attack me. Like I always think the first thing people mind is how they're going to hurt me. You know what I mean? How would you hurt me? How would you do something to me? So I need to defend myself just in case something else comes up. You know what I mean? So, I've been knowing him for so long. I knew that would hurt his feelings.
Wow. The fact that you just say the paranoia, because I feel like that's something that is I've seen very prevalent, and I experienced that paranoia of someone. It's like everyone is after them. It's like the world is against you, literally. And I'm just like, well, who's against who? Where are they? Everybody. Who's everybody? And it's like the closest ones, the ones we don't know, the ones that haven't been born yet. Right. And it's like,
everybody.
When are you at peace? Like, do you ever have peace?
Sometimes you get peace when you're by yourself, but again, sometimes it's not all the time. Sometimes you get peace and solitude when you're alone, but it's kind of fleeting. You know what I mean? You would think you would have peace when you're by yourself because there's nobody around you, but you're around you. You're by yourself. You attack, so your thoughts automatically start be negative and attack you.
So those thoughts still attack you?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, it like I tell people, it doesn't go away. People ask me, "Am I happy to be self-aware?" I say sometimes. Most of the times I am happy, but sometimes like being self-aware, your thoughts. I know what I'm thinking now. It's just like I have to kind of again dam it up or be my own filter. Like I have to filter my life more now than ever because my thought process is still the same. Like I just have to kind of
work on you, which it makes sense. That's for all of us.
Yeah.
I think once you open that Pandora's box of feelings and you finally let them out, and you can't close it back up.
Oh no.
So now there's this whole ocean and thoughts that are happening. Because I mean, I would say it even happens for me. I go to therapy a lot and dealing with so many things. It's like, oh my God, now I'm aware of it. Like I had a situation yesterday where I was speaking to someone, and actually a couple months. The person was attacking me. It seemed like they were attacking me, but I was so aware of myself, what I do, who I am, who I really am, that I'm like, well, that person must be projecting.
Yeah.
They have to be projecting the way their tone, what they're saying. And I remember being in that meeting, and it would have been so easy a few years back to be like, bitch, who the fuck you talking to?
Yeah.
Or like, fuck this, like I'm out or whatever. I was able to sit there quietly and take it in. And then I come to find out, a couple months later that they were going through a very, very rough time.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, wow. But in order to control that, it was a lot of work, controlling myself in that moment, because all I want to do is punch you in the face. I want to hang out and be like, who do you think you are? Yeah. But then it also feels good once you're done and like it finally goes back down like that high. Yeah. And it's like, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with the consequence of having gone off, cursed somebody out, probably, not getting a client, whatever it might be. And I was able to diffuse the situation.
Say, I will be there sometimes, it just depends on the person who it is and what they're saying. I'd be matching energy. I can't. That's why you see my podcast. That's why I'm about to start having guests on and stuff like that. I just that's why I fear, because sometimes it's hard. Again, I was telling you earlier, it's hard to control what I'm gonna say, because like I feel like my snap decision is to violate you if I feel violated, which is why I had to work super hard at controlling myself and not like taking shots at something when I'm doing my podcast, because I'll just go off on people. I've said some horrible stuff on my podcast before. I hope nobody screen recorded this, because they posted it's gonna sound so horrible. Yeah.
I think the only thing that I heard from you there, it was solos, and they're from a while back, but it was some solo episodes that you had done
from the very beginning.
It had to, but whatever I searched February of 2022 and came up on the podcast app, and the Apple Podcast app, they were solos. Yeah, that's where I had found it. So I did not. I
haven't had guests on that podcast just yet. Like I said, I'm about to start.
You talking about the podcast with the girl?
Yeah, I haven't had it. We just started that last week, so we haven't had anything on there. But I'm about to start like we're doing right now. I'm about to start doing that for more people.
It just okay. You just don't know what they're gonna say and how you're gonna react.
Yeah,
well,
I just like so
podcasting is that you can, if you're not streaming it live, you can edit, which is why this is not live.
Yeah.
No, there's always plenty of I actually don't do much editing, but if there needs to be editing, sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what? I don't censor myself while I'm speaking. Yeah. So for you, since you're gonna do your pod, I don't censor myself. I let it fly. Yeah. And then in post, I'm like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. And I don't like the way that sounds now. And I have that's the beauty of podcasting. Yeah. It's not live. So think about that maybe when you're doing yours.
Okay. I will.
We're on the spectrum. Do you think there's a spectrum of like, have you seen someone that's worse than you were? You're like, damn, at least I wasn't that bad.
Oh yeah, I see people that are way worse than I am all the time. Like
because of the malicious aspect of it, or because of their way of thinking.
Super malicious, super the way they think. Yeah, I have malicious thoughts. I don't carry through with them. I don't follow through with them all the time though. Like I said, the super paranoia that I have, I always think how to hurt people. Just like maybe not physically, because I'm not gonna physically hurt a woman. But like a man, I just like I can beat you. I just like if it comes down to it, I'll fight you. At the end of the day.
Do you feel like you can beat anybody up?
Anybody? I don't say anybody, but I just feel like I can hold my own. If y'all listen to this and you want to challenge me, I can hold my own.
All right.
I'm a lot bigger in person. Yeah, I'm not, like people think. I think people see me on social media. I think when I meet people,
how tall are you?
People think I'm 5'7", 5'8". Like they're like just because you don't see from here. I'm like 6'3". I'm 6'3", like 240.
Are you actually? Yeah, you definitely do not look 6'3" on camera.
Yeah. People say that all the time.
You
when
don't
they
look
first meet me.
5'7". I would have said maybe like 5'11", maybe. Yeah. You definitely don't look over 6 feet.
Yeah, when people come back, like I'll meet people in the gym that recognize me from TikTok or something like that. They're like, "You're a lot taller than I thought you were." Like, how do you think I was? Yeah,
you look about 5'11", 5'10".
Yeah, it's why I have 5'7" energy. I think. They be talking shit.
Did someone told you that, or you said that about yourself?
No, somebody said that. Maybe in my comment sections. It'd be funny.
Oh shit! That's probably
people talking shit. I get a lot of negative comments. I get a lot of negative all the time. It just be funny sometimes.
How do you deal with those?
I mean,
do they fuel you up though?
It depends on what the comment is. It depends on what the comment is. Like I posted a video very recently about narcissists and psychotic breaks and how the eyes might go big wide and black or whatever. And they do. Everybody's calling me a demon, and I was just like, okay.
But actually, that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
if there's any, yeah, for anyone listening is wondering like maybe what he's talking about, if I, from what you saying that I do remember certain physical fights and very, really, really bad verbal
Yeah.
arguments. And I would always tell my therapist, it was like the eyes weren't there anymore. It was someone else. It was dark. They were like, I don't know if it's dilated or what it might have been, but it was a different eye.
It was him or her. It was still them, but it's kind of like you log out. You might not remember it when the things calm down or whatever, but it was you. You know what I mean?
Do you remember? Because there are times where I feel like they really don't remember what they said or did.
So sometimes it can get to that point though, because when I was telling my therapist about this, a quick backstory. It was like an argument me and my wife had one day. You know, I remember she called the police, whatever. The police ended up being there, and she was telling me how the police was like. She was so angry because when the police came there, it was like I was a totally different person. Like you were just like making them laugh, you were joking and stuff like that, and they just left. They left. You know, just like damn. I didn't know why they were there. I was literally shocked why they were there. Like that's because I had no idea why they were there. You know, because I had blacked out. And there was this picture in the like those canvas pictures or whatever. My wife had got a canvas picture done, and it was like. And one day I was cleaning out my son's closet. No, it was our room at the time. I was cleaning out the closet, and that picture was in the closet cut up. Like somebody took a knife and sliced it up. I was like, well, my wife did this, and she did this because she was at a different place, and maybe she wants to hold on to it to show her something was going on. You know. And I told my therapist, like, there's this picture in my closet that my wife needs to throw away that she cut up, and it bothers me every time I see it. She's like, why don't you just ask her about it? You're in a different place now. Just ask her to throw it away. So we were laying in bed. I was like, when do you think you'd be ready to throw that picture away that you cut up in the closet? And like she just rolled over and she was like, you cut that picture up. I was like, no, I didn't. Why would I cut that picture up and leave it in the closet? Why didn't you? I would have threw it away. She's like, she went back on her phone and like, it was like from 2018. It's been in there for years. That's how long it's been in there. And like, she scrolled back and she was having a conversation with her aunt. She was like, yeah, my first name is Damon. She was like, Damon's running around the house, like whistling, and he took a picture off the wall. He just cut it up and stabbed the picture. He grabbed a knife and stabbed the picture and cut it up or whatever. And that's why the police got called. And apparently, like I said, that's when, like, I don't remember none of that. I was like, what? No, you did.
What
you
was it? Was it a psychotic break? Were you in the middle of an argument?
It was a psychotic break. It was literally a psychotic break. My therapist said it was a psychotic break. She was like, because sometimes when you're dealing with narcissistic people, toxic people, like if their needs are, first of all, they'll try the normal way to get their needs met. It's like two pathways. They'll try the normal way to get their needs met. If that doesn't work, they go to the narcissistic defensive way. If that doesn't work, it's like everything gets blocked off, and it's just.
So what happened that day? That day you argued and it didn't work? You don't remember? Does she remember?
She probably remembers. I don't want. I'm not.
You're like, I don't want to touch on that. So we are past that.
No. I just like I just don't know. I haven't asked her what happened that day because she just told me. She's the one who told me just like, yeah, that's the first time I saw your eyes, or whatever, and you wasn't there. That's the first time I've actually been scared. I was like, oh, I don't know what we were arguing about. Something happened, But yeah, it got to that point where I cut that picture. Apparently, I cut the picture up. And I told my therapist. I was like, I went to therapy the next time. I was like, you know what about that picture? She's like, what? I cut it up. And she was writing notes, and she was like, you cut it up, And at the end of the session, she was like, when was the last time you had a psyche eval? and that's how I ended up taking the psyche eval I did a couple months ago. So that's when
Oh, so recently?
I took another one recently, yeah. Cause
what is a psyche eval? Like, what do you do?
It's like a questionnaire, pretty much. I took two of them. I took the one of them is the MMPI-2, and the other one is the PDQ-4. I took two of them. And
you take them at home, or you have to go somewhere?
I had to do it in the therapist's office.
Okay.
Yeah, both of them was like on a computer. She handed me the computer. You feel like it's like true. One of them is true and false. The other one is just strongly agree, that type of stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I remember as I took it, and we were reading through the results, Steve, very recently, and that's when she's like, here's the personality disorder spike right here. But we don't need to talk about that. We've been talking about that for 5 years. This right here is what worries me now is this this paranoia bubble that's super high, and there's also this schizophrenia bubble that's super high. You see what I'm saying? It's just like you tested extremely high on paranoia and schizophrenia, and then she was just like, she started asking me weird questions. She was like, when you watch movies and TV, do you feel like the TV is talking to you, just talking directly to you? I get into a movie. It's the storyline. The storyline might speak to me, but the TV is not sending me messages. But I understand why she asked that because because it tests so high on schizophrenia and paranoia that it could be if I wasn't if it went a different direction, I could have schizophrenia. But she's like, you're not schizophrenic. She's like, you just tested super high. So, and then she started asking me, do you have anybody on your paternal lineage that has been diagnosed with schizophrenia? I was like, no, not my dad. My grandpa, I didn't know my grandpa, but I do know that he, I found out through Ancestry.com that he took his own life at 27 years old. Yeah, and she was like, yeah, just no reason, just like 27 years old, good job, whatever, 3 kids, got up Monday morning and just like decided, he wasn't going to work, shot himself. And I think my dad found him, which traumatized a 7-8-year-old little boy in the 70s. There's trauma. There's trauma right there. Was disconnect. Ain't no therapy for a 7-8-year-old and a little black boy in the 70s. Hey, you gotta go to school tomorrow. Back to school Tuesday and Wednesday after your dad.
Definitely, it's like there's something that's been coming from the lineage for a while. However, it's happening and it trickled down to you in this way. So what you have is just a very high paranoia.
Yeah, I have high paranoia and high on schizophrenia as well. It's like she's like this. That could be the narcissistic personality disorder might not be directly in lineage, but the schizophrenia is direct lineage type of stuff right there. The traits, it's in the genetic code from my grandpa.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's crazy how it works.
So now you can. Okay, wow. Well,
it helps to know though. It does help to know.
It does
understand
because
the dynamic.
I guess from when you feel certain ways, you can know why it is.
Yeah, the paranoia. Like I said, just understanding that I'm super paranoid. I think she said so. I have narcissistic personality disorder, but I think I got to go to therapy Friday, so I think I'm probably gonna get it. She said it's probably leaning towards an underlying mood disorder too. So she said it's not bipolar. It could be CPTSD, which is a complex post-traumatic stress disorder, or I think she said paranoid personality disorder. So I have 2 disorders. So, but
we're not off. I like everybody a little fucked up. We have to have some issues.
Yeah, so it helps to know though, because like I said, if I didn't know about the paranoia stuff, I just find out I'm super paranoid. Cleared so much stuff up in my life and helps me understand so much more. I'm like, that's why. That's why.
Not that it goes away, but the answer to
it. Just the answer. It's still paranoid. It's still there. It's just like just having the answers. Knowing it's better to know than not know. You know what I mean? Why is my leg falling off? Why is my leg rotting off?
Yeah. I did want to touch on you have 2 or 3 kids?
I have 3.
3. And the oldest, I believe, is a teenager, right?
Yeah, I have a 14-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
How do you navigate a teenager or parenting period with your kids? Because especially in the beginning, I feel like the teenager probably had more of, you. He had
more loose meat, undiagnosed, unaware meat. Yeah. I just feel like that's one of my biggest things right there. Is just that I was supposed to video about this yesterday. That all my kids get different versions of me. Like I've been, in therapy for 6 years. So that means my oldest was 8 years old. When I got into therapy. So I wasn't the most present. I was in his life. I was the father. I had him 2, 3, 4 days a week. Me and his mom lived together for a while. So I was an active father. I wasn't super connected to him like that. You know what I mean? I was more along the lines of trying to serve myself. And my 6-year-old, he was the one I was screaming at, so I was just like, as a baby. So who knows? Did he retain that memories? He's scared of me because of that. Because even though I've been in therapy, I still have rage outbursts sometimes. You know what I mean? Like they broke a lamp one day. They were downstairs playing. I was like, hey, look, my little studio lights. I was like, they were lights, the light bulbs are not cheap. I was like, hey, chill. I'm mounting the TV. I heard it get knocked down. I'm like, hey, y'all, look, chill. Don't knock it down. You know what I mean? 5 minutes later, bling. I was yelling and screaming at him. And, my youngest son, he was just like, I guess he started crying. And his mom's just like, it's okay, King. Like, no, I was like, no, that fucking ain't okay. I'm screaming at her now. I'm yelling at everybody. Everybody getting it. And like nobody in this goddamn house listen to what the hell. I'm just yelling and screaming or whatever. But they see it. They remember that type of stuff. So my youngest girl, she hasn't seen that. She's 2 years old. I don't think I had a rage incident with her around since she's been born, So just trying to parent is just kind of like trying to connect to them on a different level. Because my oldest son was having behavioral issues for a long time. Like dear Lord, he was getting in trouble in school like every couple of weeks. Every couple of weeks, we drop him off at school, think we're going to have a good day, get a call from the principal like, yeah, Trey did that. I'm like, oh, my God, damn. It's just made it
Do you
worse.
think it's directly correlated to
Me, yeah,
how
yeah,
your
definitely.
relationship?
Yeah, me, because I was a father. I was a dad, but I wasn't like father. I was just like more along the lines of I get him, we play basketball and stuff like that, and just chill. I wasn't meeting my kids' emotional needs. So I just
Were
like,
you physical with disciplining your son?
oh no, not like that. I do the yelling and the pushing stuff. I'll fight him now if he's too old. Now I'll square up with him. You know, I was more along the lines of like the yelling and just like just trying to course correct them and things like that. But like where we are now is just like he was in 8th grade. I was like, he gonna get kicked out of high school. You know what I mean? So we got him into therapy. He also follows my social media stuff too, though. So he sees me talking and stuff. And I've had conversations with him like, look, I'm fucked up. I've had this and this and this, and the way I treat you is not a reflection of you. It's of me. That's why I go to therapy, because he did not want to go to therapy. He go to the same therapist office I went to. He hated going to therapy. 13 years old. He's like, I don't want to go in here. I was like, this is the same therapist office I go to, right? He's like, oh, is it? So I think they made it a little bit more comfortable.
Okay.
I go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with going to therapy. Like, I wish I got in here younger because I wouldn't be so fucked up. So we still worry about high school. So he been in high school this whole year so far. Hadn't got suspended. He got one. I think he got one issue. He was being late for class, but like he was headphones. He had to go to ISS. I'll take that as opposed to fighting and doing stupid shit.
We're cool with ISS. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I do know or have seen how, the parenting aspect of it can really affect your child. Yeah. And does that change? So now are you very conscious of the way that you speak to him and how you speak light into him?
Yeah, cause I just feel like I'm not as aggressive with him and stuff like that now. I can feel it. I can feel the aggression coming up, but like I have to kind of like I have to dam it up, little beaver. I have to dam it up, and cause like we'll be in the gym playing basketball or something, and he'll just get disconnected, and I'll be passing the basketball like just shoot it. He'll smack it back to me. I like shoot the ball. He'll smack it back to me again. Like shoot the ball. He'll smack it back to me again, and like literally my arm will go up. I catch it. And I'm about to launch it at him, And I was just like, whew. Look, man.
Do you think that before?
Before I would have threw it. Yeah, I would have threw it. Like a few years ago, I would definitely threw it.
Out.
You know what I mean? I would have just threw it really hard at his chest.
Like the way you viewed a child before. Sometimes I wonder if people with narcissism, NPD, realize that they're speaking to a child.
No, you think you're speaking to yourself. You think you're speaking to a little version of yourself. You expect them to understand on the level that you understand right now.
So they're just a person. Everybody is just a person.
They're just a person. Yeah, you might treat them differently because they're a kid, but like sometimes, you speak to them like they're you. You expect them to understand on your level.
So you speak to everyone like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, you expect people to understand you from your level. Yeah, you expect people to meet you where you are. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to dumb down my conversation because you're younger than me or whatever.
Ooh, that word right there, dumb things down. Let me simplify this for you. Let me dumb this down. It's like,
yeah.
What?
Let me cut your food up for you real quick so you can digest it a little better.
Oof. Yeah. No. Do you have a parent you think that had narcissism? Where did you think you get him? What do you know? What trauma?
So my mom is not a narcissist. My mom has some stuff going on, but she's not a narcissist. She's just she's my mama. But my dad, like he was around. I know who he is. We saw him like every weekend. But like he was neglectful. He wasn't a parent. He was like literally just fucking chicks. He had like 8-9 kids. He was just he wasn't particularly connected to being. He wasn't interested in being. He was more interested in the activities that help make babies than to actually help take care of those babies. My grandma was like the parent when we went over there. He was up there, door closed, with women up there. You know what I mean? But he wasn't like he was just neglectful. You would get no validation from him. You know.
He would basically you were just whatever to him. You never.
Yeah, you just whatever here. You just whatever. Just non-existent. pretty much. We were just over there. Like, oh, my kids are here. Go up and shut the door. Just super neglectful, that type of stuff
dad,
like that.
Just
being like no involvement in your life whatsoever, other than being at grandma's house. You wouldn't come pick you up, do nothing. Like literally no involvement at all. Just neglectful. Just like literally absent. Pretty much absent. In the same.
Do you deal with that now? Do you feel like now you can look back and say that was trauma? And at some point in time, did you think it's like it's cool, like it's whatever, like I didn't need it?
You act like that. You want to act like that. There was a lot of men who act like that. When their dad is not in their life, they just be super defensive like that and say, "No, I ain't need that nigga anyway. Fuck him." He's just like he wasn't there. I ain't need him. You say it in an angry way because you're angry. You did need him for something. You know what I mean? Why you so angry about it?
Or maybe wanted. At
you
some
wanted
point,
him,
you
yeah.
wanted,
You wanted,
even if they were
yeah.
in the same household, I wanted you to do more or
Yeah,
validate me.
yeah. You can be neglectful in the same household. Yeah, you can just like again just exist. You know, be in your own bubble. You can have a 2-parent household, but be raised by one parent. Absolutely. You know, so that happens quite a bit. Like I didn't have a 2-parent household. He was just like he just literally just absent. He was not there. No validation, no nothing. He just paid child support. That was it. You know, but like he lived with my grandma. So when we go to grandma's house, technically we're spending time with him because he lived there in my grandma's house.
And you feel like, or through therapy, is that where you feel?
Oh no, I was
like
angry. I had daddy issues for a long time. I was super angry. Every time people bring him up, I'll be super angry. You know, that's why I just know when people say they don't need their daddy or they don't want it, they angry because I was angry when I used to say that. You know, but just understanding why he is the way he is helped bring me some peace and clarity in my own existence because his daddy killed himself and he found him. You know, again, it helped me on my journey to understand, like, damn, yeah, was he neglectful and absent? Yeah. But he's also found his daddy dead when he was 7, 8 years old. You know, when you gotta go to school in the morning, your daddy you go to the bathroom, your daddy in on the toilet with a bullet in his head, dead. You know what I mean? That traumatizes you. So I understand that. I forgive for that. You know, I don't engage with him like that. Still, I'm not like, hey, Dad, we need to rekindle the relationship. I'm cool. I'm cool now. Like literally, I can say I don't need him now. I can say it. I can say it and mean it now.
Okay, good. I mean, is there still that yearn for it? Like I wish things would have been different, or I wish things were different, but I can accept how they are.
I think just I can accept how they are now. Did you wish things would have been different? Yeah, to a certain extent, but I also understand the dynamic that, you know, again, this is Tony Robbins stuff. Like, if he would have been the dad I needed, I wouldn't be the person I am right now. I wouldn't be on this level of self-awareness that I have right now. You know, he played the role that he needed to play. You know, and you know,
there is something that I did want to touch on with you, but I love that you said that because we all have some type of mommy or daddy issues in some way, shape, or form. It just turns up looking different to all of us. But you had obviously relationships before your wife, and there's a time when we always wonder, did they ever mourn the loss of this relationship? Like, did you even care?
Do y'all even care? A lot of narcissists do care when relationships end. They just don't heal or mourn like you would. You would just go eat some ice cream or go to the club with your girls, go get drunk, and you would go hang out.
No, I went to therapy 4 times a week.
But you would, some people.
I needed to do something different to get different results.
You said that you find yeah. So yeah.
I mean, I've been down the cycle where I was like, no, this time I'm doing something different. But usually, yes, that is most people numb themselves by going out. So
yeah, they'll numb it. They'll find a way to deal with it. You mourn, like you take your time. Typically, healthy people take their time to mourn a relationship ending. Like I said, when people move on fast, whether you're a narcissist or not, I don't think that's healthy at all. Because like even if you've dealt with a narcissist and you move on fast, I don't think that's healthy either. Because I don't think you took the time to heal. You can find a worse narcissist. You can find a sociopath. You can find you a psychopath because you haven't healed yet. You looking for comfort. You can find a worse person.
They're gonna be like, "Wow, you think you're better than me?"
No, they're gonna provide you some comfort at first to suck you in. They're like, "Oh, this is just what I needed," and then they're gonna reveal themselves later on after you become attached to them. And they don't hurt worse.
You're saying that what we mourn by doing things, and y'all or them.
We mourn by finding other people. We mourn using other people to mourn. We don't like narcissists. A lot of I can't speak for everybody. Everybody can be different, but a lot of narcissists mourn by trying to move on quickly to somebody else.
Yeah, like the same week, move them in.
Same week, same day,
move with
whatever.
Them, like
on Tinder the same day.
But it's really using that person, no?
It is using that person. You throw the feelings that you have from mourning the relationship, the hurt, the pain, the shame, the rejection, whatever you feel in the relationship, you bottle that up, you put it into the bottle, you shake it up, and you love bomb the other person with it. You mean, you're like, I'm so hurt right now, I'm going to try my hardest to fall in love with somebody else. You know, I find somebody else. And does it look happy from the outside in? Yeah, it looks so happy. Do I think I'm happy? Yeah, I think I'm happy. I'm like, damn, I got over her quick as hell. Fuck her. I ain't need her. You know, you find somebody else, but like you don't heal correctly, and you take that. It's like a book bag,
and then they hate that person.
You take that trauma, the embarrassment, you pack it in your book bag. And instead of just dealing with it, you put it on your back and you take it into your next relationship with you. You know, that's why they talk shit about their exes or stuff like that. They're not over them. They're not done with it. They haven't healed correctly, so they mourn through moving on. They mourn with other people. Like, I love you so much. Like, it's only been 2 weeks. I know.
Literally 2 weeks. I'm like, what in the hell going on over there?
Yeah.
Who loving who?
Like, I've never felt this way by anybody. But you were just married for 10 years. Like, I know. That's weird, isn't it?
It's God.
Yeah.
It's God.
Yeah.
We were meant to be together.
It's weird that you don't feel the same way. I thought we felt the same way about each other. Well, I do. Okay. No, you see, it's quick and easy.
Wow. And some women, if you're not healed yourself, will fall for it.
Yep.
Will
If you're not healed, you will
definitely
absolutely fall for it. You think, because why wouldn't you fall for it? You think you're looking for love and affection. You're looking for somebody to treasure you and value you. It makes sense that people love you and care. It makes sense that somebody's in love with you in 2 weeks. You think you're a good person. You think you're lovable. It makes sense for somebody to fall in love. Who wouldn't fall in love with me in 3 weeks? It makes sense. You see what I'm saying?
God, this is like, but I get it. But I get because it's so real. Some people might listen to that and be like, "There's no one that could ever think that way. That would feel like someone can fall." But it's true. Like there are people out there that truly feel like they are the what is it called, creme de la creme, and they are just. It would be an honor to even be in their space to breathe their same air. Yeah. They truly do believe that, and that's the scary part. That it's not a facade. They believe it.
Yep.
Which is like the grandiose part of narcissism, where it's just like I'm this big and I'm that, and that doesn't have to look like big expensive cars or anything like that. It's just the way they speak on themselves or their past or what they do, and most of the time they are lying.
Yeah, a lot of time they're lying. They're lying about a lot of the different stuff like that. But then this is the crazy part about it. They'll be lying about a lot of the stuff. But when other people find out, they don't just cut the relationship over. They forgive. They give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, I can understand you being nervous and you lying about being married. I get it. You know, I can understand you being nervous and lying about having a car and a house. I get that. Like, I only lied to you because I knew if I told you the truth, you wouldn't really like me. Duh. That's the fucking point. That's the fucking point, though. You wouldn't like me if I presented the real me. You know?
Gross. Have you been in front of or dealt with or met someone that uses religion for manipulation?
Yeah. That's one of my pet peeves right there. So on my healing journey, the last time my wife had left me, she had left in 2020.
Damn, how many times she left you?
A couple of times. She left a couple of times. Yeah, but this just shows you, even though I've been in therapy, I was in therapy for 3 years, she still left. Because I think I've been in therapy for the first few years. I wasn't being completely honest in therapy. Was it performative? A little bit of it was performative. It's just going there like, I'm in therapy. I'm working on myself. You know, I can just say I'm in therapy. But some of it was absolutely, you know, just I wasn't being completely honest and truthful with myself in therapy and being completely vulnerable, which is why I think from 2020 to 2023 have been way more impactful on my life than the first 3 years of therapy. Because I go in there and be honest. I just like, because you know, first of all, they can't tell anybody else what they tell you.
That's the beauty of it. And say that again. Yeah. Your therapist cannot tell anyone anything. Yeah. I think the only time they're required to say something is if a child is in danger, I believe.
Unless you talk about hurting yourself, like, you know what, after this therapy appointment, I'm going to go home and put a gun in my mouth. Or
literally,
I'm going to do it to my family.
Or the harm of a child. And I remember my therapist saying, that's the only 2 times that they can say anything. Anything else, when you're saying all these I've said some wild shit in therapy. And she is not, unless she wants to lose her career and then for me to whoop her ass, like, she's not going to say anything. Yeah. So just know that you can now go in there and be super.
Yeah. It's a safe place. It's a safe place. You can be vulnerable in there because you feel like they can use it against you. It's like, again, the paranoia kicks in. You think if you tell people too much, they'll use it against you. I just like, you know, if you use it against you, it actually makes me look realer and makes you look bad. So you lose your stuff. Like, well, Lee Hammock told me this in therapy. I'm like, well, did I lie to y'all? I told y'all this type of stuff. I said this type of stuff, you know. But once she left, I started reading the Bible. Yeah, I was talking about. Yeah. Once she left, I started reading the Bible. And I just felt, because I was so lost, I had nothing else to do. I was just like, I've been going to therapy ain't helped me. So I started reading the Bible. And I read the Bible even when she came back a couple months later, I still kept reading the Bible because I didn't want to be fake to God. I'm like, look, I can't be fake to God. Like, you know. So I read the entire Bible from very beginning, from Genesis to Revelations, from Jesus to Revelations, from Genesis to Revelation. I read the entire Bible from cover to cover. And I just understand, like, I feel like my relationship with God actually helped me a lot. I'm not a Christian or anything like that. I'm not super religious because I see how many people weaponize it against so many people. You know, I do want to.
But if you also know about, I'm assuming you read the Holy Bible.
Like, yes, the Holy Bible. Yeah.
The Christian Holy Bible. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, one thing because I was born in the church, And I actually left the church because I felt the same way. And in my own journey, in the past, probably now 7 years, with that, I will say one thing I had to understand was that we're not there for the people. There are a lot of people that use everything and they weaponize everything. Like I saw plenty of secretaries sucking pastors' dicks. Not I should have seen them, but growing up, you hear about it, right? Because we're in the church, literally in the church.
Yeah.
We know about affairs that are happening. I've heard, through being in my household, my parents talk, or my mom really, gossiping ass, talking about the pastor taking money or whatever. And I'm like, well, you probably shouldn't be talking about pastor business, sister, you know? So all these like really negative things. But one thing that I always have to remind myself is I'm not here for the people. If I'm going to have that faith, I have to have that blind faith, but in him and not so much. As much as I love my pastor, even here, I've never met the guy. He don't know who the fuck I am. But, love him to death. I'm loyal to a fault. I still know that he is a human, and my loyalty is not necessarily to him. It's the message that he's given that I'm receiving that. So always, just because I know what you said probably resonates with other people. They're like, you know what? I'm not a Christian. I just have read the Bible. Nigga, you read that Bible. You in touch with Jesus.
Yeah, I'm in touch with Jesus. Yeah, I believe in Jesus. So I've read the Quran as well. I've also read the Quran.
Okay.
But like I said, because I wanted to get so but I just feel like so many people weaponize religion so much so. Like, I've talked to people every single day. Like when I'm talking to people, I do one-on-ones and whatnot. And so many people just like, I met my person in church and I just assumed he was a good person. Like that's the assumption that people, just because somebody goes to church, that they're a good person, will cost you so much time in your life, y'all. Yeah. I just feel like, I met the pastor. You still have to vet them.
You still have to date them.
You still have to vet them and date them. Yes, you have to just understand that people will weaponize the Bible and religion to get you to do things, to get you to trust them, first of all, but also to get you to stay in toxic relationships. Like they'll be beating you up, cheating on you, whatever, but then they just, hey, you know what the Bible said? When I hear about leaving your husband, he said you can't leave because you blah blah. The Bible says you can't leave. Let's go talk to the pastor. They'll tell you to go talk to the pastor. And
there pastors are 3 reasons why you can leave: adultery, abuse, and there was another
they won't tell you that though. They won't tell you that. They just said Jesus frowns upon divorce. They won't tell you the full story about you can actually leave or get divorced and whatnot.
Absolutely.
They won't tell you that. They'll just tell you like religious toxic people, religious narcissistic people weaponize the Bible and just they cut it. It's kind of like they cut it up. You know how like you see those little ransom notes where you cut the letters off of the magazine.
The letters.
That's what they do for religious manipulators. They cut the parts of the Bible out that fit them, and they'll staple them together and give you a statement.
And then they live the most unholy life, the most unholy life. After they've just told you to not do all of this, but then they're like, "Oh, it's okay, but I'll pray about it." And God will forgive me. And it's just like, I don't know if that's how it works really, but
I found God. I found God, and I talked to God last night, and God told me
pray.
That we should
have
stay
you seen
together.
the performative people that pray over everything, every morning, every night, over food, over drink, over the gummy bear, like pray over everything? And it's just like, who are you praying to?
Yeah.
Are you just closing? Are you taking a nap? I feel like you're just taking a nap because I don't know what Jesus you're talking to. Or like Facebook posts, their Facebook posts of
my goodness.
How the Lord and their family and they have these pictures of people that they absolutely hate on their page as their main page, and I'm like, wait a minute, sister, you want me to post a screenshot? But you know what? If you try to expose someone like this, a toxic person or a narcissist person, you trying to expose them, it's just gonna make you look crazy.
They'll kick you out of the church for trying to expose somebody. You'll get kicked out of the church. Like I know a story of a pastor at a church that like. There was a husband and a wife that were. I talked to one person who told me the story. And this actually, you can Google this. There's an actual real story about a pastor in church that was counseling this couple because the husband thought the wife was being adulterous. It was like the husband was just like, "Yeah, I think my wife was cheating on me, whatever, you know." And like, let's go talk to the pastor. The wife said, "Let's go talk to Pastor Bob, whatever his name was, you know." And they go talk to the pastor, and like, okay, the pastor's like, "Y'all need to stay together, work out. Like, the marriage is built on trust and foundation, or whatever." The woman has a baby by this dude, or whatever. It turns out the baby belongs to the pastor. The woman was cheating with the pastor.
Wow.
She was having an affair with the pastor. Yep. And the pastor found out. The whole church found out, and the pastor is still over top of the church. They don't care. They don't forgive. The Bible says forgive.
He gotta forgive. Yes.
You gotta forgive. Forgiveness is not yours. It's the Lord's. You know.
The pastor situation, I absolutely believe because I've seen it happen, and we see how pastors should be forgiven and left there. And at the same time, I do truly believe that humans should have, a margin of error and grace to be given. But when you have certain positions, there's just certain things you can't violate. And it's like, okay, we forgive you, but then you got to go sit right down the pew with me.
Yeah.
Hang out right there in the back. But we're going to wrap up this episode today. I am so happy that Lee is here. We're going to do a part 2 and bring him back to talk to him. I just told him, off air that I love the fact that he just lets me, say what I have to say, and he doesn't feel like shocked by things that I've said. So definitely there are some things that I do still have questions on. And if you have any questions by the time we bring him back for a part 2, send them to askcarlawilmaris@gmail.com. And then we can bring those up in a part 2 that you really want us to answer for you, a situation that you might have been through. You know how that goes. Just send whatever it is that you want to send over to us. So I will see you guys next week. Before we get out of here, how can they find you, so they can go looking for Mr. Lee Hammock?
Well, I have a website. It's mentalhealness.net. But I can be found all over social media at Mental Healness, mentalhealness. It's 3 S's on Instagram because it's not my name. But it's Mental Healness everywhere, y'all.
Okay, and you do private coaching as well, correct?
Yes, I do one-on-ones over Zoom, yes.
You do one-on-ones on Zoom. So if you ever wanted to have a one-on-one with him, if you're going through something, you can find him on his website. I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.